Good morning, members, and to the community of the island of Tinian. I call this Ways and Means meeting to order. We do have a quorum here, and with that, can I get a motion to adopt today's agenda? There has been a motion, has been seconded. Discussion? Anyone? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. We'll move on to the public comment section. Is there anyone in the gallery that would like to make comments with regards to the Office of the Mayor of Tinian's budget requests? Being there's none, Sarge, can we have Mayor and Mr. Allen? I believe they were both sitting. Good morning, Mayor Hodon and Chief Perez. Thank you for making yourself present today for the budget request. As you know, there was a late submission yesterday, so we haven't gone through the revised budget yet. But we did confirm that the amount requested by the mayor and what the administration proposed has not changed. So we have not verified carefully, and with that, we'll try to go over this as we see fit. I'm sure the mayor hasn't seen yet the proposed or revised budget, so we'll go over it throughout the day. So with that, thank you again, Mayor Odon, and I'll give you the floor now for your opening statement or remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I wanted to apologize for last night's hosting. I know that Representative Santa Claus invited me to join you guys for dinner, and I apologize. I had to go to Saipan for the meeting yesterday with the Governor's Council, and at the same time, I had to attend this morning's funeral for one of our constituents. And I think I flew here with Mr. Nicholas, almost the same flight this morning. I do apologize. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Chairman Yumo, and members of the House Committee on Ways and Means. My name is Edwin P. Audon, and I am the Mayor of Tinian and Aguiguan. I'd like to start my testimony by bringing to the attention of this committee my most critical and pressing issues, and that is the reinstatement and funding of 31 Mayor's Office FTEs. The governor's budget submission fails to fund the 24 FTEs that were removed from the cinema employment last year to be funded under Tinian ARPA funds. Let me be perfectly clear that these employees were originally cinema-funded employees who have been employed by the mayor's office for years. Moreover, the governor's budget submission also zero-funded 7 existing FTEs, of which all 7 positions are either filled or in the process of being filled. Essentially, this budget eliminates employment of 31 existing employees, many who are in the room here today. I am here to strongly advocate on behalf of these individuals and to remind this committee that these are not just names on a piece of paper, but actual individuals who, just like you and me, have families to feed and financial obligations to meet. How is it fair that within the entire cinema budget submission that only these individuals are singled out to be terminated? Therefore, my first and most critical ask for this committee is to do the right thing. Let's not play with people's lives, and let's reinstate the funding for their continued employment and all of the 31 FTEs. I know many of you are wondering what is the remaining balance of Tinian's ARPA fund and how can it be used for fiscal year 25. So to be clear, as of today, the balance of Tinian's ARPA funds are 686,334. However, for the fourth quarter of fiscal 24, these funds have been fully allocated as follows. Payroll for 45 local FTEs to the end of FY24, which is 435,336. Office rental for the mayor's office, finance and labor, 26,200. Van rental for the guest house, 7,200. Prepaid utilities for the mayor's office, 15,000. Professional services and mayor's office and department operations at 99,000. This leaves a balance of 103,598, of which every dollar will be used to fund the 9 remaining local mayor's office FTEs to the end of December 2024. Therefore, regardless of what OMB or finance says, I need to impress upon this committee that there are no ARPA or local funds available to fund the 31 FTEs or any of the mayor's office operations for FY 2025. During the Governor's Council meeting, I stressed to the Governor that we need to reinstate the funding for the 31 FTEs as we are seeing an unprecedented increase in activity on Tinian due to DOD buildup. I would estimate that within the past year, the population of Tinian has increased nearly 25%. With this increase in population and commerce, there is an increased need for personnel to enforce the cinema laws and regulation and services to the public. This includes the urgent need to protect the cinema from the brown tree snake and invasive species like the rhino beetle, red ants, that could easily be transported on ships or planes that come from Guam directly to Tinian. Therefore, the need to ensure the adequate personnel to protect our borders is not just to protect Tinian, but the entire cinema. In fact, while the rest of the cinema is in a state of economic collapse, Tinian is thriving. For example, in FY22, total BGRT collected on Tinian was 1.04 million, and the excess taxes were 63,613. Total taxes collected in FY22 on Tinian were 1.8 million. In FY23, total BGRT more than doubled to 2,256,000, 2.56 million, and excess taxes increased 10 times to 661,274. Total taxes collected in FY23 were 3.8 million. As of June 2024, total BGRT collected is 4.9 million, and the excess tax collected in just 9 months is 1.4 million. Total taxes collected for this fiscal year to date are 6.9 million. I point out these tax collections over the past years because activity on Tinian is literally providing financial lifeline to the cinema government at a time when all other taxes are decreasing. And as I stated last year during the budget hearing, we need to work together to ensure that we are collecting all of the fees and taxes that should be levied on DOD projects. For example, I think the administration, DPW and Finance needs to take a closer look at the developer's tax to be assessed on DOD projects. If applicable, we stand to collect millions of dollars from DOD build-up on Tinian. And if we are able to amend the law to make this use of developer's tax more flexible, this can be an immediate source of funding for Tinian and cinema. Following my testimony, my RDHs will highlight their department's challenges. I encourage you to visit the departments to see firsthand the challenges we face daily trying to serve the people. However, I want to highlight some critical issues that I hope this committee will address and consider. First, I would like to ask this committee to properly fund the personnel for DPS and DFEMS. In the budget submission, both departments are funded at 87.5% or 70 hours. DPS has only 16 police officers to cover all divisions under DPS. We know that DPS works 84 hours and DFEMS works 96 hours per pay period as their base pay. By not properly funding this department, this puts the entire municipality in a deficit from day one, from preventing the mayor's office and other departments the opportunity to reprogram their personal lapses for operations. Second, I would like to ask this committee to fund the sole Tinian NAP employee, food stamp. Although there are 54 FTEs for NAP in Saipan, we were recently informed that there is no funding to continue Tinian's FTE. However, NAP is still able to rent an office on Tinian. Third, I would like this committee to fund the necessary personnel under DPW for solid waste. With the increase of DOD construction activity, it is vital that we have the necessary personnel in place to ensure that the disposal of solid and hazardous waste complies with CNMI, DECQ, and EPA rules and regulations. Although I understand that the challenges this committee faces to pass a fair and balanced for fiscal 25, it is important that we keep in mind that the 8 departments are line departments under the executive branch. Although Amendment 25 grants the mayor the authority to manage the departments on Tinian and Rhoda, the duty to fund the departments rests with the legislature and the executive branch. For fiscal year 24, no cinema funds were provided to Tinian departments for operations, and because of a projected deficit, no funds were available through reprogramming. As a result, the RGHs used the revolving funds for their most essential expenses and were instructed to seek assistance from their secretaries. When no assistance was provided from their secretaries or the administration, they sought financial assistance from the mayor's office through our ARPA funds. To date, we have subsidized the departments over 113,506 for their operations. And when we are unable to provide assistance, we experience power outages at the Aging Center and the Department of Labor. I do want to state that in both cases, the Saipan office assisted with funding for the utilities, but when we had to deal with the processing of the payment through Munis. In the case of the Department of Labor, it took over 5 weeks for finance to process a $300 payment to CUC. During that time, Department of Labor in Tinian had no power or communication. And this is just one example of the administrative problems we face trying to serve our people when decision-making authority is not delegated to the municipalities. Before I end my testimony, I would like to bring the attention of this committee some comments made by some members of the House regarding Congressman Saliclaus' introduction of a local revenue bill during the last House session. During both first and yesterday's Governor's Council meeting, the Governor strongly encouraged the municipalities to work with their local delegation to pass revenue-generating laws. So let me ask this of our members in the House. Since the start of this administration and 23rd legislature, what assistance has anyone given to the municipality of Tinian to show this so-called spirit of Juan Morales? If we are in fact one Commonwealth, then why in FY24 was 24 FTs for Tinian unfunded and removed from the cinema employment when we insisted to transfer the ARPA funds back to finance to keep them in the OPM system? Moreover, in FY25, these FTEs are only FTEs in the entire budget that are unfunded. When the legislature passed FY24 budget to provide funding for utilities for Tinian and Rhoda, where was the legislative support to override the governor's veto? When Tinian departments started to have their power shut off, where was the assistance from the House to push finance to pay for the prepaid meters in the timely manner or to request the Secretary to assist their departments on Tinian? It has been nearly 6 years since Super Typhoon U2, but none of our projects over the past years have progress under the Public Assistance Office, and our requests to manage our own projects have been ignored. With OIA, MAP, and TAP grants, where's the equity when Tinian is the only municipality without an approved project? The NAP office is now terminating the sole NAP employee, and we are unable to process through OMB, OPM, and finance our vacant positions, even though they are funded for FY24. I would also like to address Tinian Local Law 23-11, which appropriated local poker fees. This bill was introduced in the House on November 2023 and was finally passed and signed by the Governor in early 2024. When we requested the transfer of funds, finance stated that the amount they certified was incorrect. We requested that the allocation be prorated based on the correct amount, which is a practice that has been accepted in previous situations. However, finance without justification required that the law be amended. We amended the law, which again took months and was finally signed by the governor on May 21, 2024. Tinian Local Law 23-11. We requested for the immediate transfer of funds, but to this date, more than 6 weeks later, the transfer has not been made. As a result, for the past 8 months, our local medical referral program and scholarships have been suspended, and we are unable to assist our residents with funerals. So again, as the members of the House, when, when over the past year and a half, has the administration or this body showed any effort or sincere intent to assist the people of Tinian to be one commonwealth. In the absence of any assistance from the administration and the legislature, how can you blame us to introduce local legislation to meet our funding needs? Again, just look at this budget submission. Rota's budget is 1 million more than Tinian when all the construction activity is on Tinian. And the Saipan mayor has over 60 ARPA FTEs reinstated when Tinian doesn't have a single ARPA FTE reinstated. I truly do not believe I truly do not believe you can understand the frustration I experience every day trying to simply keep the lights on and provide the most basic service to our people. I don't know what has created this division and inequity within our government. Finally, I would like to conclude my testimony by simply reading Article 3, Section 17C of the Sinimay Constitution that states, public service shall be provided on an equitable basis to the citizens of the Commonwealth. Unfortunately, it is clear that our government has failed the people of Tinian. I know that we as elected officials have to balance politics and public opinion with the duty and responsibility. I too have sat in your very seat for legislatures and know the challenges you face. Passing a budget, especially when funding falls short of our needs. But what I never compromise is the welfare of our people, regardless of which municipality they are from or their political affiliation. In the end, you are correct that we are indeed one commonwealth and we shall all be treated equally. So let's start today with the passage of a fair budget, and I look forward. Thank you for your time, and I'm available for questions and any answers or concerns from the members. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you,
Members of the committee.
Mayor, for your opening statement. Yeah, we did notice the difference between the two senatorial district. We had our fiscal analyst verify, so we did notice the changes. Now the 24 ARPA employees and the 7 FTEs that were cut during the middle of the last fiscal year. Can we get can you submit that number to this body, the positions and the amount, the fiscal impact, so we can see what we're really looking at? So if the Mr. Perez can provide us that one, that'll be good. Second, just so that we're clear and we put the ARPA funding to rest. Last uh, legislature, the municipality agreed to um, the resolution to fund projects. So was the projects, for example, like the veteran cemetery and the um, I guess the upgrades, the revitalization along was done, or is it obligated, encumbered? Where are we at with the list that included a lot of the repairs were that being addressed?
The- Mr. Chairman, they were all set aside, but some of these projects we did start doing them. And then, as projected from last year, or the previous year, before last year, we projected some of these projects to this amount. But as you know, price just went crazy. We try bidding for our what's this storage. Yes. And somebody came back with $2 million 40 by 80 estimate
For storage?
for storage, for 40 by 80
I think we
storage.
have a storage somewhere along the street here. That's
and,
open.
the price just went crazy, so we had to reassess again and
Right.
figure out a way to
Okay.
to move on and
Yeah,
spend
just-
wisely our money, because I cannot allow na para we wanna just go out and we barely have, like, for the cemetery, we only like less than 200,000 just to start on the project, and not to complete the project, but to start off with fencing, and then trying to build where they pray, the chapel.
Okay, so just give us an update as to where we're at with that. I think that's where all the questions lies, with why the budget is reduced. I think that's, I'm starting to see that right now. So can we get that update?
Sure. But Chairman, to answer your question, all of those original projects that were allocated, none of them were done. So the entire ARPA funds that was originally the 604 money, that was shifted back to 602 money, that was all used for personnel and operations.
So this is why
So-
the projects were not done?
Yeah.
It just shifts to the
Correct.
other side of the equation?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so those are my two main questions for now. I need the fiscal impact for those 24 FTEs plus the 7 FTE that were cut in the middle of the fiscal year, no? I'll open it up now to the, let me recognize my members, because I got excited when I saw the mayor walked in. We have Representative Angelo Camacho. We have Representative John Paul Sablan. And sitting in the center, obviously, is your Representative Leader San Nicolas. And we have Representative Manny Castro, along with Representative Marissa Flores. With that, members, I'll open up for questioning. Let me recognize your hometown homeboy, Rep. San Nicolas first, because he has, I believe you have a statement. Thank you, Leader San Nicolas. I'll open it up, members. Sure. Rep. Sablan.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Mayor, and your team for being here this morning. So just wanted to, just a follow-up question on the Chairman on the fiscal impact, right? So the total 31 employees that are not funded, that would perhaps cost us 1.2 to cover those. Is that correct?
About 700.
About 700 for the whole entire 31 personnel to cover that. Okay. Just wanted to follow that, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Sablan. Any other Rep. Camacho?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Mayor and team. So you briefly mentioned about lack of personnel on your solid waste side. I don't know if you're aware, but there's this EPA grant. I believe we had the discussion in Saipan as we were conducting the budget hearing. And if I'm not mistaken, there are a couple millions in there that is used to support the funding for personnel as well. Maybe perhaps you guys can look into that. And I do believe that Saipan's taking advantage of that grant right now. So, I mean, just a suggestion. And then also, I don't know if I'm not really good at math, but I see that there's a slight increase in the revised budget So you mentioned roughly about 700,000 to fund the 31 personnels. And based on my calculation, it's almost around there, about like 600 some thousand increase with the revised budget. So
Is that for the mayor's office,
that's
reps? Okay.
correct. Correct.
So they did find some funds.
That is correct, based on what I'm looking at right now. So
Okay. We'll
Chair,
just,
if I may,
sure.
first question, I'm assuming the EPA grant you're talking about is the ASADRA funds?
that is correct.
Okay, great. So yeah, we definitely are participating in the ASADRA funds, but the issue with the ASADRA funds is we have made requests for personnel, for equipment, for operations and everything. The way the ASADRA funds are working right now is first, the overall CNMI master solid waste management plan has to be passed. And then from there, there'll be allocations within the plan. So for example, like with Tinian, part of our entries within the ASADRA plan is one, operations for the existing landfill. But I think even before that is what's necessary to make the existing landfill compliant. So to answer your question, yeah, we've actually made those requests probably almost a year or two ago for assistance from the ASADRA. We actually have asked EPA and OPD specifically that given the urgency of our solid waste situation with the DOD buildup, is there any way that they could release some of the ASADRA funds for personnel and operations prior to the CNMI master plan? Unfortunately, they said no, so we're still going through the process of finalizing the CNMI master plan. But yes, we have actually made that request as far back as 2 years ago. for
Okay, thank you
assistance.
for that. I'll verify when we get back to Saipan because the last meeting we had with a former representative that was working closely with the environmentalist or EPA had advised us that we can actually use those funding for personnel prior to the submittal of the master plan. So again, let me verify when we get back and then we'll
Right.
keep in touch. No?
Okay, thank you. And in regards to the, oh, go ahead, Mayor.
Can I expand a little bit on, on the solid waste? We, I think all the three senatorial districts have their revolving account for solid waste. Chairman Sabran, right, ever since there was an account created to address the solid waste based on tipping fees, no? And previous administrations, the municipality, I'm talking about the mayor, no? One of the mayors back then declared a state of emergency because US EPA is in the midst of siding our dump because our dump is not even supposed to be a dump. Just over the years, somebody started throwing trash here, and then it has become a dump, not even being certified or being recognized by EPA. So then, back in 2005 or six, our mayor at that time declared a state of emergency. Then, within that state of emergency, a communication between EPA and the municipality was set, and then within that, there was an administrative hearing, and then it laid out to allow the public to continue to throw trash there. These employees are under solid waste revolving account. There were, at that time, there were 8, which EPA agrees that it should be. That amount of people should be able to maintain and make sure that the dump is running. Fast forward now. For the past 3 budgets, I've been asking the legislature, and bills were introduced to give the expenditure authority to the municipality. Because right now, what's happening at the dump is out of that 8 employee, there's only 3. 1 manager, 1 administrative, and 1 field officer. And they're managing 2 dump sites. One's at green waste, and the other one's a public dump. Okay, go a little bit further. Under OSHA, you cannot function such operation without 3 men. Because one needs to monitor the incoming offload. The other one, when there's a bulldozer in operation, an operator, and the other one is a safety guy on the bottom. So We only have one person running the dump as we speak. I'm very surprised that if Saipan is really have availed this FT, because we've been trying to get it with, as a matter of fact, next week EPA folks are coming from Region 9. Michelle and all those guys are coming over next week to meet with us, Saipan, Rhoda, and Tinian. And I said, no, you need to pass first your solid waste uh, master plan. Then within that solid waste master plan, it prescribes what's for Tinian, what's for Rhoda, what's for Saipan, and all the equipments and FTs. And I think this year, I think in is the deadline for that master plan to come in fruition. Thank you.
Rep Camacho, you,
Sorry, are you, Mr. Chairman?
leader? City
Yeah,
Clerk?
but just to clarify, Mr. Mayor, the three employees, Dom is, I mean, Pogo no, una. Is that a violation of OSHA? It is a violation of OSHA, right?
Technically, but we cannot just close the door.
I understand, yeah. That's what I brought up when we met with the Department of the DPW happened. I brought up, and they'll try to come up with personnel to to complete the people in order for us to avoid the violation of OSHA and penalties. It's only verification, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, leader, Rep Sablan.
Yeah, Chair, I just wanted to say that the mayor is absolutely right. There's solid waste funding, but over the budget years, it has been suspended and proposed by the administration to be suspended. So that's why it's not normally funneled through to all the senatorial district. But maybe we can take a look at that funds on this deliberation, and we'll see what we can do. But with regards to the EPA and OSHA, I know that you guys are right that in order for us to tap on the majority of the 56 million, we need to fulfill first the master plan, and that master plan has to be approved by US EPA. And we have to have a comprehensive plan as a cinema before we achieve that. But in the meantime, are there any efforts to, with your DOM, getting into compliance? Because that's going to be also a challenge moving forward, right? Because how far are we getting in compliance with the existing DOM right now?
So Congressman, what we have done so far is we have gone through the land designation for the dump. We've already accomplished that. Within the ASATRA funds is the compliance of the landfill. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure if DPW is here, I think that's already gone out to bid. And if I'm not mistaken, that's budgeted for about $700,000. So once that's done, then they would go through the compliance process.
Right.
But then that would add the next problem is once we become compliant, then we have to meet the regulations, which
And then
would be the cover,
eventually-
the manpower, the screening, the whole thing.
And eventually, by then, you can start implementing tipping fees, right? So that you can
Right.
have this revolving fund to continue the operation. Thank you, IUM, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rep Sablan. Rep Castro.
Thank you, Chairman. Mayor, earlier you mentioned that there was one FTE for the NAP program on Tinian, and that's not reflective on this year's budget. Is that correct?
So I think this is, they hire the personnel under Saipan's account, under NAP Saipan. And then they open the position here and then they hire from here. The FT is coming from the $30 million NAP budget. So she's under that. there's no NAP here in Tinian. Because when you go to Rhoda, Rhoda has their own full-time employee paid under DCCA NAP. But here, uh, I don't know if you remember last year when Lucy testified in regards to some of the issues that they were going through with NAP. So in DCCA, you only have like 5 or 6 employees from people that clean the vehicle in the yard and admin, HPO. HPO is a totally different creature then again. But when NAP comes in, they all have to, even people from HPO have to come and assist NAP to distribute these things. We were lucky that we convinced them and they gave us 1 FTE, but only for, I believe this is only for this year because already they notified her that they're not renewing her contract by end of fiscal year.
To your knowledge or any of your staff's knowledge, was there ever, because I know now what they're doing is personnel from Saipan fly over to Tinian or Rhoda for distribution. Has there ever been a point in time, and I guess this question can be for NAP later on, where the municipality personnel, not personnel, were the ones distributing the vouchers or food stamp? Or they were always flying over?
They always fly over and they get assisted by the staff.
Okay.
Yeah, until they hire this one person and she and the rest of the staff work. But they advised her already that I saw the letter that they were not renewing your contract.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chair, you.
Thank you. Anyone? Rep. Flores?
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Mayor and team.
Morning.
Sorry, I'm just kind of loud. You mentioned earlier that the 602 funds were never fulfilled to do its, or whatever it is you allocated from 602. And what you had proposed to do with the money has never been completed. Is that correct? Okay, how much money is that?
So originally, we got 3.6 million.
Okay.
That was earmarked as 604 funds.
Okay,
I think that was back in 2021 or 2022. So upon receiving those funds, we were instructed for the delegation to do a resolution to identify the allocation of all the funds, which we did. Then we started all the projects. We did about $500,000 in projects. New administration came in, said that those were not supposed to be 604 funds. They were supposed to be 602 funds. They did the amended 2023 budget, which then required us to use those funds for personnel and operations, and then also in 2024.
so that number, those funds are still showing up in your treasury, correct?
I don't know what's showing up in finances treasury. In our treasury, we have an accounting of
Right.
the entire 3.6.
Okay,
Correct.
so it's still within your municipality?
The funds, yes,
3.6,
with the
okay.
balance of 686,000, correct.
And these funds cannot be used for personnel?
Oh,
Do
they
you
are
have-
being used for
okay.
personnel. That's
So this is the one that you were talking about earlier?
absolutely, yes,
To take you all the way to either December of 2024, right?
correct.
Okay. And this does not include the 31 FTEs?
Correct.
That you were talking about? Okay. You have, Mayor, do you have any other special funds, Mayor, at your discretion?
Talking about revolving funds,
Mhm.
we have the anti-tobacco, we have the hot funds.
Mhm.
The other ones that are given to the municipality and the departments, we don't touch those funds. We let the departments manage those. 4
Manage.
departments have revolving funds.
Okay, we'll discuss that
Okay,
later.
sure.
I'm just trying to figure out with
Mhm.
Mayor. Your solid waste, I know that that's the responsibility of the municipality, but I guess I have a question because you have all of this military buildup. What do they do with their trash?
So right now, all the municipal solid waste they actually have to pack it up and ship it out because they're not allowed to dump it in a non-RCRA compliant landfill. So that happens on all the exercises. They haven't got to the point, so that's a big question. So right now, when you take a look at everything that's being done there, it's pretty much just rough construction. So you're not getting municipal solid waste. It's only a matter of time before that starts happening. And that was one of the issues that we brought up to DPW and EPA, that right now you're just dealing with C&D, construction and demolition, which right now they're just holding it on their site. And a lot of it, they're repurposing. So a lot of the hard fill, they're repurposing for the sub-base. But eventually, there's going to have to be a time when they're going to have to move that off the project and find another permitted site. Now, we requested from DPL to take an old quarry and designate the land for a hard fill site. Unfortunately, DPL said that they wanted to bid it out, so we weren't able to use the old quarry for that. So we're still looking for a potential hard fill site for these projects.
I think, yeah, and I think for me, right, the military's here, they're providing a lot of funds to the local economy. But when you're looking and you're reading the technical agreement that was signed back in 1976, right? Have you proposed to have these discussions now and looking at this live document and saying, hey, look, you know, we have afforded a mass amount of land to the Department of Defense, and its infrastructure does and will in the future have an effect, right? And the fact that they're even packing the trash and taking it, why can't they work with through EPA, start that conversation, make this process easy, and provide a permanent solution to the solid waste management, right?
Right.
I mean, the ball's in your court, honestly. If there's any of the islands that have the benefit now, is Tinian. In the next 5-10 years, this place is going to be nothing like what it is today. There's going to be a lot of businesses flourishing here because of the military. But I really do suggest, you know, even with your congressman, Rep. Seneca Laws, is really bring them back to the table because, you know, it's a live document until you ask, right?
So just for your information, that conversation was initially done in 2010. I was there at that meeting. We have met many times to discuss the technical agreement. We've met many times with DOD. In fact, just last week, we've had 2 meetings. So all of those discussions have been made. We try to vet it out in any way possible in terms of how to address the solid waste situation on Tinian. DOD has agreed to allow us to use land up in the MLA, and we're trying to work that process out right now, which the landfill for that location is actually part of the master plan to be funded by ASADRA. That's the only funding source that's large enough to be able to take on a project that large. None of the other local funds, whether it's our share of OIA funds on an annual basis, could meet a project that big. But to answer your question, yeah, everything that you've recommended, we have had multiple meetings. I think what needs to happen now is with DOD, the primary communication is directly with the governor's office. We need to have the governor push the importance and the urgency of DOD coming to the table to handle the solid waste situation. Because we have exhausted that. We bring that up, I personally bring that up at every meeting that we're at in terms of how is DOD going to solve their solid waste situation here on Tinian.
And Representative Flores, that like what Alan said, this dump trash issue is been there since when I first started in 2000. We've been asking, but then again, no. It's like some of it is our site, where to identify where is the site, where can it be compliant, where can it not damage our water when we put this dump area. So it took us quite some time to identify the place. Then when we identified in Masalo, in Piña, Lower Piña, then the obstacle came like more like now. It's not just really identifying. Now it's clearing the place. Well, a report came out from Bronzefield. Report came out from DPO. I guess you guys saw that when they were going out there with the mine. They were sweeping. It was on TV a couple times about 3-4 years ago. That was that study. That study came out. There's 1,500,000 pounds of ammunition there. Now, where just the most small municipality? Where we gonna get the money to remove those things? Now, then again, we cannot directly avail Brownsfield. It has to go to DPL and BCQ. Then this revolving door of coming back and forth and back and forth. That's the whole delay. No? Then when we decided, because in 2006 we agreed with DOD to a particular area up in the military release area for us to both mutually consent to recognize that as a landfill. But back then in 2005, the Marines are not on the horizon. They were not even been kicked out from Okinawa. But when the report came out 4 years later by Army Corps, and when they came out with the report, it took them 3.5 years. When they came with the report, the military came back and said, "I'm sorry, we are moving the Marines to Guam, and military released area are off limits because they want to plan out what they want to do on the 2/3. So then we have to go back again.
Okay.
And so this identifying and some of it is their part, some of it's our part. But now I believe we're meeting together and we're sharing how to fast track. We're waiting for them with Department of Public Lands for the military to deed back the property to DPL, and then DPL will give it to the municipality. Then we engage with the ASADA funds with EPA and
All
move
right.
on.
Yeah, sometimes the process takes much
Oh.
longer, and we apologize for that because,
The money is there.
Yeah.
It's not the money, it's the process of getting this technical stuff.
it's
through.
inefficient and ineffective at this point, right? And I think a lot of private businesses, including our own residents of the Commonwealth, it doesn't work. We spend too much time duplicating and going back and forth and back and forth, and this process is just not streamlined. We're all trying to find solutions to make it effective and efficient. And that's why when we talk about personnel, it must be effective. You have to design a system that's efficient, that is not so time consuming when you're providing services to your citizens and to the general public and the private sector, right? So with that, Mayor, how many staff do you currently have? 101? And how many of those are civil service? All mayors? Okay, and they're all accepted service? Accepted service, okay. There's a lot of activity and a lot of recruitment happening here in Tinian. How is the mayor encouraging citizens to partake and participate in the private sector recruitment? Because the pay is nice, but it's not government work, right? And with government work comes, or being an employee of the government comes with many benefits. And it's hard for someone to transition to private sector. So what is the mayor, how is the mayor, I guess, encouraging, its citizens working in the private sector? And if there is that possibility, is the mayor in any communications with any private entities here that are hiring, so that in order for the mayor to build capacity in his district, right, maybe shadow on-the-job training and share the responsibility, right? Half will go to Department of Labor, the other half will be on your municipality, right? And then they can get job training skills, therefore enhancing their ability to, market themselves and be a little bit higher on the food chain, right? But how are you, I guess, participating in this conversation? Because there's a lot of work.
Representative Flores, for the past, I would say, no, 6 months, we've had our mayor's staff, some of them have resigned or moving to the private sector. Most of them are leaving our island, and majority of them is some of them are going to the civil service. And Tinian is a small island, and so when somebody resigns, they come to my office. Oh, I heard she left. Can you hire me? Because, like you said, the with the job, the healthcare, all those amenities, benefit is in the government is safe, and we've engaged with private companies. There's multiple. There's 3 of them that have come to my office, give us flyers, and we share with our employees. We put it out on our Facebook, also for our community. I mean, jobs that are, it's not skilled. They have informed me that by Friday, this Friday, they need 10, preferably local, at $17 per hour. Labor, no skill. Previously, they have approached me and we've recommended some of these locals, kids that have just come out from high school, or they came back from somewhere. Hey, why don't you go here? Because they're offering $15 an hour to do the stop, go, stop, go. $15 an hour. But and we have to admit this, our kids nowadays need. I was really happy and said, boy, keep it up. It's a good job. Yeah, I'm here. Every Friday we get paid. $15 an hour. 3 weeks later, this job's hard. Boy. Boy, you know how long it took me when I was a police officer to reach 30? More than 10 years. 14 years it took me to reach at $30,000 a year. You are right out of high school. You just got back from the States, and you're secured $15 an hour for the next 4 years. Ask those government employees. None of the government employees have had raise for a couple of years. No, we've done the audit, we've done the evaluation, it's supposed to get the salary, but we're in limbo. We're financially strapped. We can't afford to do increases to our employees unless there's vacancies, they raise them up. But yeah, we've engaged with some of these companies that come in, and they are out there. They're looking for local employees because why? Because they save more. They don't have to deal with the immigration situation, and it saves them from hiring foreigners to provide more than what as a local. We have our own house, we have transportation, we have our own food. But then when you hire a contract worker, you provide transportation to site, food, and then barracks, and it costs them a lot.
Okay. I think that's really one of the questions that was, I guess, pressing to me. And forgive my ignorance, but is there a reason why your employees are not civil service?
Well, the mayor's office is not department. We are not allowed to hire civil service. But the intent, and I would say maybe 40%, 30 plus of my staff are all assigned under different departments. Now the intent is we MOU you there, not because I want you to be a commerce or or DCCA. No, because DCCA or Commerce would ask, Mr. Mayor, can you please help us? We're short and we need the manpower. Okay, so we give them personnel, and then we assign them there, and we have no overlook over this person anymore because they work under the director, directly under the director, and whoever is the assigned supervisor to that personnel. So they follow department's regulation and procedure, protocol, whatever. But when the time comes when there's vacancies and he or she is interested in the position, now she has a background, 2 years, 3 years as a admin assistant or whatever at that particular department, and then 10 is to make them transfer there.
Okay.
Now we've seen some of those become possible over the years. I believe I have one personnel. Last week I signed off her working at the mayor's office. Now she will be working at the finance as administrative officer after
Okay.
2.5 years of working in finance. So that's
Okay.
that's the intent. No? When Mayor Down is out, so you're out. Oh,
No,
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 we're supposed to make sure that even before I get out, as much as possible, get them to civil service because one of the most best thing that you can ever do to a family. I'm telling you because I've experienced it and I've seen it and they've come and expressed 10 years ago when I was in the council, municipal council. We have this. Remember when they start cutting down the council's staff from 36, now it's 12 to now it's like 4 or 5 when we push them to civil service. Oh, Zulu, land transfer. The best thing that would have been the best thing that you have ever done if you have that power or authority is to situate a family and make them become a civil service. They put that in their heart and they come to me every now and then, Mayor. Yeah, look at where you are. No, a kid. I will say this very fast. A kid used to work for me. He was, when I first became a councilman and became a chairman, my second term, he was working as event planner. Then the council was being cut down. And then he said, "Come on, chairman, I go, it's up to you. I'm going to go and join immigration because there's a position there." He went and signed up for the immigration when they separate commerce and labor. Immigration, no. Then he applied, then made up his rank, and then U.S. immigration took over. Come on, you never know. Go for it. He went and applied for USCIS. You guys know who I'm talking about, no? It's Jeffrey Hofschneider Jr. Jeffrey, just give the opportunity. He took it. He took it to the next level. And where's that? He's one of the proud kids from Tinian, and we're pretty very proud of Jeffrey. So, we try to image that kind of nosy from working from a political position, but we do not want you to be there for the next 20 years. No, we want you to excel in your livelihood, and be steady income for your family. Kinedji kala 2 years. Biba, biba, biba. I feel sorry. For me, if I ever get a chance, I'll just switch over 30 FT and make them full-time employees.
Okay.
This 30 of FT, okay. Todo do di say manggagi di department ni mambekin ito, okay. Oh, the civil service right now. I'll do it.
Okay, and I think, I'm sorry, were you done? Mayor?
Yes.
Okay.
Rep Marissa, sorry. We had a couple of members that need to use the restroom and they didn't want to cross the so can we you still have the floor, so when we come back, but can we take a short recess for some of the members that need to be excused? Thank you. Thank you. Apologize for that break. We can't have the members exiting in the side, so we've to Rep. Marisa to continue her question.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mayor. So I guess we had a very brief conversation outside, and I'll just go right back into my next line of questioning, and this is towards your budget submission. You have an allocation here for cleaning services at 40,000. Okay. What is the cleaning services, 40,000? What is that?
Okay, so initially that was our ground maintenance contracts. So back in the budgets when the hot funds were suspended, then obviously we had to budget for it within our regular budget. With the hot funds not being suspended, but then again, there's a question as to whether the collection of the hot funds are going to meet the statute. There's still a question as to whether we get enough money for our ground maintenance contracts.
Okay. And this is for public areas or both governmental and public?
These are the pavilions. As you know, when you go to our pavilions, it's even the cigarette butts they collect. So we contract in the morning, they pick up the trash, they clean all the bathrooms, and in the evening, they pick up all the trash and collect clean out all the bathroom. And this is to include also the marina. And as you know, with the insistence of MBA and the partners, the private partners for trying to expand on our tourism sites to improve, develop, and enhance, or trying to just really maintaining our place. That's the money that we use. Because when hot funds started, we were getting like somewhere between 25,000 a month. But then when, as the hotels don't have the customer, that amount windowed down. I think our last transfer, $7,000 or $4,000 from
Okay.
MBA.
So Parks and Recreation, they don't do cleanup of any sort here.
We only have, I believe, 2, but then it became vacant, and then now it's only 1. But that individual is temporarily assigned to Saipan for some medical reasons.
Okay.
But can I ask this? No, because in Saipan, in Dilenar, Parks and Rec, some of these personnel, I believe, are being funded by DPO, and I continue to ask DPO that you need to put Tinian in there so then you can push these vacancies or this Parks and Rec personnel under DPL, and then that FTE or funding for that could be used by the department for their operations.
Okay, so my next question is your operations and maintenance in Tinian. Does this include, you only have one, I'm sorry, hold on. So their function is completely different from your cleaning service budget?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll ask that question when we get to that department. Rental vehicles, you're renting vehicles for what? The guest house
Those
inside
vans that transport the patients from airport to our center to the.
Okay, and that's one car?
No, that's 2 cars.
2 cars, okay. And then rental office, 96,
That's.
how many offices? Just yours?
Yes. And we've negotiated with the landlord during COVID, during the what's this, the U2, and the landlords have been
Okay.
really, sometimes they drop down the price.
So you also indicate here fuel and lubrication, 78,000. What does that pay for? is that for all the heavy equipment in the departments or just?
Just
what
my
is-
office.
Just your office? How many?
I would say maybe like 15,
15
cars,
cars?
and maybe from heavy equipment, from bush cutter to zero turns to the backhoe and the what's this, the hydro mower. That alone, we have maybe 10 that are running consistently, no? And we do get parts that are very expensive nowadays. I just had to buy 2 tires last year, the big ones, and they're like $3,000.
Okay, all right. The only reason I'm asking, because I'm looking at all of the other offices here, and they're also requesting a substantial amount for lubrication. And I'm just trying to understand, the mayor has indicated that you need $78,000 worth of fuel and lubrication funding. And then I'm looking at all the other ones, and I'm just wondering if this can be a cost share where everything just comes out of the mayor, right? And you start providing these fleet cards or whatever. I'm just trying to understand, because we're duplicating in areas where we can just consolidate. I don't know, but that's up to you to decide. I'm not here to tell you how to run your operation. But in terms of looking at the budget and how we can work together as a body, and as, partners in the sustainability of your municipality, and utilize funds where we can maybe fund an FTE or two. So anyway.
Floor is Rep. Castro.
Mayor, regarding your statement earlier about civil service, and I just wanted to get your input while we're here. In terms of training, professional development, employee tenure, I don't know if this is exclusive to Saipan or Tinian, but we noticed that over the years, the exempted service side keeps going up, and the civil service, you have less employees, lower pay, but obviously a lot more benefits under the civil service side in terms of protection. If there was a bill in place to push to convert service to civil service, is that something that your municipality would support? Okay.
I do.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Castro. Any further? Mayor, just one quick question with I know this year the administration proposed 250,000 for the utilities. Where are we at with your utilities?
No? Because that the 250 is not for the mayor's office. That's the entire municipality.
Right. But it's under your, I guess it looks like the expenditure authority will be used.
So Chair, what we mentioned yesterday during the Governor's Council meeting is that, okay, so the municipality has two different accounts. You have the prepaid, and then you have the ones that are on account. Prepaid alone, we're at about 15,000, 18,000 a month for the entire municipality. The mayor's office alone, about 5,000. But we told the Secretary of Finance yesterday that 250,000 would not be able to address any arrears. That would barely be enough to just take care of the prepaid moving forward in 2025. That's what we would use those funds to focus on.
Okay.
For the mayor's office, the council, and the 8 departments.
So your position in making this flexible, and I guess because we're trying to incentivize, so if the mayor's office and all these departments saves money, then you're flexible to move that money around, not just it will not be just only for utilities. So if one department saves, a whole lot of funds, then of course you can use it elsewhere. So we're looking at that right now. We just wanted to get your position on that. Was possible.
So flexibility within the 250, I don't think it's going to matter because again, the municipality of Tinian, if I'm not mistaken, is about 60 to 70,000 a month. So we're just at about 8 to 900,000 a year for the entire municipality. So that's not going to, there's going to be no flexibility in that. So what we would do is we would take that, we'd prioritize our prepaid meters, and then everybody else would try to have to figure out, we'd talk to the administration or the legislature in terms of how to fund the accounts, the ones that are on account.
Okay, okay.
Chair, this funds is not just only going to pay for the offices. We're talking about the parks, the beach, the restrooms, the youth center, the extended offices that we have. So we used to find over 1.2 million for Tinian for utilities, and when he was telling me that it dropped down this much, so I guess those solar lights are really helping out now in our community, and we continue to request for those energizing our community grants from OGM or OIA.
Okay.
And that's what's really helping us drop this humongous that used to be in the millions of utilities. Just paying utilities was crazy back then.
Okay. With regards to the mayor's revolving account, just to verify the business unit 7658, we just want to verify if there's funds there, if you're familiar with it.
Is that the CDA bond interest account?
There was no description, it's just the business unit 7658.
Oh, the anti-tobacco, okay.
So it's current, it's correct.
Well, good question. So FY '24 in the budget law allocates 54,000 to Tinian Rhoda under the anti-tobacco. Now, when Department of Finance makes the entries into Munis, there's no supporting description as to whether on some of the money that take out and put in, especially during the transition from the J.D. Edwards system to the Munis, which I believe is still going on as we speak.
Right.
So
is that funds flexible to a lot of stuff, or I don't see what it's,
okay,
the description.
so our understanding with the anti-tobacco funds is we're allowed to use those funds to promote anti-tobacco and wellness. So that's where we look at that for. So we have definitely shifted a lot of our youth programs, like recently a fishing program, when we send our youth over to Saipan for basketball tournaments and everything like that. As long as they promote anti-tobacco, then we have in the past gotten approval from finance that that's justified. Okay. And then in addition to that, also with ABTC and commerce, we also use the
strictly
funds.
for programs, can't be used for any other.
Correct.
Okay.
Programs that support anti-tobacco and wellness.
And Chair, we almost fell off our chair when we got notified that there's this much amount of money last week. It was last week. But that was consistent 50,000. But the number that maybe you're looking at right now is, you might say, oh my God, what are they doing?
Yeah, it's a large amount. I just want to say the amount.
When you look at the transfer, it just happened a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
A big chunk was thrown in there because it was laying out there with J.D. Edwards sleeping. And then they just throw it into Munis. Oh, here's what you got.
Well, that's the issues we have now with J.D. Edwards, because it's kind of, they get to choose which gets to be transferred to the Munis and which remains, and it's hidden. So it's in the far corners of the accounting books somewhere.
And Chair, I'm glad we were talking about this because a lot of these departments that have a revolving fund that was in J.D. Edwards, and when they looked up in Munis, they say your account is zero.
Right.
Zero. And some of them had to go back and manually, because like with DLNR, you by accounting you cannot miss it, because when Tunmanet comes on Tuesday on November 12, 2022, that invoice and receipt is still there. They're lucky they still have some of these receipts. So they have to compile. They were told by finance, You have no money, but wait a minute, we have thousands of, or like 8,000 when the transfer was happening. How come now it's only 300? So now they're going manually and going back and inputting these things.
Right. And that's the issue now. That, I mean, you're not the only one. We've seen it with other agencies and departments where the funds were like, is this real? And so we're left trying to figure out, how flexible are these funds, and is the funds really there? So we're always having to struggle with that.
So Chair, we have two issues. In the past, we've had situations where we would have a large amount transferred in, and then it would be transferred right back out. So we want to verify that transfer in of the last transfer to the anti-tobacco. And then the second issue is we're very aggressive in terms of how we take a look at the regulations in terms of the use of the funds. But yes, a lot of these revolving funds are limited to the use, and whether you have to change it within legislation or within regulations, we look at that also, and maybe we come back in front of this body and ask for a little bit of flexibility
Yes,
in the
and
use of those funds.
and that's what we've been doing for the last couple of years, is trying to make everything as flexible as possible, because when you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, it's really. But when I saw this amount, I'm like, is this real? Or but we'll verify, I guess. Yeah, we'll verify and see if this is the. I'll assume it's the tobacco fund. So, any other question, Rep. Sablan?
Thank you, Chairman. Just one last question. Mayor, I know that last budget deliberation, we have agreed that some vacancy that we just insert $1 there just to keep this vacancy alive. Is that something you want this August body to continue doing in the event you find a source of funding to fund these vacancies?
They're vacant but zero funded or funded?
Some
$1.
here are $1 just to keep the FTE alive.
I
in
know
the
that.
event.
I'm sorry, Chairman. I know the DPS was on that list, and till now, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna shy away from telling you, we have a problem in hiring on DPS. On some point, even if we want to do an internal reallocations, so then these salaries of police officer one that have been there for more than 10 years should move up. It's not had happen. We've struggled with those kind of ways to try and maintain the officers. We've seen a lot of officers resign and moved, and just not resign here and move to another job, to Black Micro or Nova, or just go off island. They've left. I've seen it over there. I think this year alone was like 2 or 3, and
But the funding is still there.
the funding is still there. But when it gets to OMB, boss, I know, Chairman, I'm sorry. When it gets to OMB said you don't have money. That's the problem when
put
we
more
fund it with
clarity.
$1.
Yeah, I'm just asking about the ones that under your account.
Yes.
I know that later on, we're gonna go down to each and every department, and then we'll work with them on that. But just on your account, there's about 1, 2, that are 3, 4 that has $1 in it. Do you wish to
Yes.
maintain that, should, in the event you find a source of funding and you cannot
Yes.
hire people? Okay, thank you. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rep. Sablan. Any further? Being there's none, the question now is the amount. Obviously, this body is going to be tasked to find ways to make sure both senatorial districts are equally divided. I think that's going to be the hardest part of our committee is to balance the two islands, and we've done it in the past where it's always been equal amount. So there's going to be some, changes to a lot of what we do, I guess, when we deliberate on the budget and how does the funds move around. I know we have GLHI that's, and I'm assuming that's where the reprogramming authority comes in. And we have the 25% that we're still dealing with, but this is the hardest part. I think I chose to be Ways and Means Chair the wrong time right now, because it's very difficult to try to balance. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to end up with something more, and that's between the two conference committees. So that's just what to expect, and we're hopeful that we can satisfy both islands, and then we can move forward. And so with that, Mayor Odon, thank you for making yourself present today. With that, I'll give you your last, if you wish to do a closing remarks.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, members. You know, when you get to a situation where you're put in a corner, and then you try as much as what you can do, no, with what you have, then you start to think outside the box, and then try do the wishful thinkings that you want to do, and then that kind of come again, and then they not put you in the corner. They put you in the corner and they pick you up, so you don't have your feeling to try and struggle and push back. No, I think we're on that corner, that point line, Chairman. At this point of time, where Tinian is at the groundbreaking of making a lot of things happen for our great Commonwealth and to the entire people of the Mariana Islands. And all we're asking is give us the opportunity to try and push our own. And when I say that, is support us on our local initiatives that we're going to be pushing out. We have benchmarks that we want to accomplish before this end of this year, to the point, and I'm not bragging, but to the point of innovative ways to make our municipality self-sustained from the Sinamay government. I kid you not, we're moving to that direction. And all I ask is for this committee to consider some of our local bills that will be pushed through, and there are forthcoming multiple big revenue generating bills that is very, very heavily reliant for our municipality to survive. Now, on the state side, I ask that all we ask is we get treated equal. Fair is fair. We're not asking for a dime more or a dime less. Like you said, having been in the legislature for quite some time, I have never seen a drastic difference between the two municipalities, the first and the second. This would be the highest one. I've had 200,000, 150,000 difference between I get it this year, they get it next year. But there's always comforting when you hear Nina, you get other amenities for not getting this amount. We've always had that incentive, no, para whoever gets the less will get it in the tail end na Zudu from all the members to that particular differences. So that's all, Mr. Chairman, and I invite the members, if they're willing, to see some of the projects that we have here in Tinian. I'm willing to take you guys out and show you what's happening and at what state and how where we're going to be at. There's major developments on Tinian that could also know to give you more insights on what we expect as far as collecting from these folks. No, thank you, Talo. Buenos
Thank you.
dias.
Thank you, Mayor. And assume we like to take that tour once we go through the agencies. I know there's not that much we can discuss with regards to the other agencies because everything pretty much remained the same. It's a task of fulfilling what you're to make the two islands equal. So that's our biggest task. We'll go through the agencies throughout the day, and when we have the time, we can schedule that tour with the members so they can see. I mean, we can see it from the air. We see it when we drive around. The activity is really higher here. I mean, we see a lot of movement, so that's always a good thing. And and we wish it should have been done sooner. Military should have been here earlier, but we're glad that they're here now, and then we can move forward. With that, members, we'll take a couple of minutes break. We'll have the municipal council come in, and then we'll take our lunch break. Thank you, members. We have the Municipal Council, and I believe we have the Executive Director here. Miss Buenas. I'll give you the floor now for your opening, if you so wish. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Yumo and members of the August body. For the record, inaano si Ana Marisa Nicolas, Goho acting chairperson, representative for the 19th Tinian Municipal Council. Here with me today is the secretary, si Presidente Cabrera, Gagiginig Santa Teku, Pago Gizoku Right, is the Mamino executive director, si Eric Regis. Dispensador. First time pa be partner am
Take it.
sinimbat ko no sumen magub so pa be gawam to no unsen nang kulina si Jesus masi ni finatun mezo za inaya mi chansa pa ben testify din mami no budget submission pa guna dia. The budget reflects our dedication to maintaining financial stability while making sure we continue to fulfill the needs and expectation of the people we serve. Every question you have will be addressed and answered to the best of our ability. We look forward to discussing our priorities and demonstrating how this budget with sandang kluna si Zeus maasi. Pago, bayu gati gizoko executive director.
Thank you, Mr. Nicolas.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Chair and this members of Ways and Means of the House of Congress. The Tinian Municipal Council was established in 1986. It is run by 3 officers. The mission of the 19th Tinian Municipal Council are to influence public policy and decisions at the local and state levels of government and to strengthen the ability of municipal government to better serve its people. This time, we would like to have any discussions or questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Just a few. I guess the position that's vacant right now. Obviously, it's funded. So, is that currently being processed, or is there an actual person there already?
Thank you, Chair. That position for the past month has been in it's routing to the exact process up in Saipan at this time.
Okay, so there is a body that's going to be.
There is a body that will be taking the position, hopefully by this week.
Okay. I don't have too many questions because the submittal hasn't changed from last fiscal year. It dropped a little because of the percentages of it went from I guess the 72 to 70 hours now. So that's the main difference. Other than that, it's the largest amount that you're requesting obviously is the fuel and lubricant, and that's because of what you're doing in the community, or just is that how many vehicles does the council have?
Thank you, Chair. So the Municipal Council has 1 office vehicle and 1 we run the Tinian Transit program out here on Tinian. And the Tinian Transit, our schedule has Monday to Friday, but since its inception, we've been functioning 7 days a week to transport the elderly and most importantly the disabled.
Okay. Other than that, community work, you guys are doing that too as well, same as the mayor?
We work alongside the mayor's office in all its main functions out here, be it the 4 signature events out here or the in-betweens for smaller, large events out here on the island of Tinian.
Okay. I guess the last, let me open up. I'll ask the last question, but
Sure.
I'll open up to the members. Rep. Flores.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, everybody. I'm looking at your mission statement. It's quite lengthy. And it really just kind of, it does everything, right? Just like the mayor. And I'm assuming you're very similar to Rhoda. It's like your charter.
Yes.
Okay. And you have 3 community workers. Are these community workers, what is their main function? To support the mission of, which I'm assuming the council, but when you're looking at your highlights, there's an array of activities that you all partake. What is their function as community workers?
One of the community, worker, see Miss Antoinette Shai. Okay, she's my driver, Presi Transit.
Okay.
Pago si yotro si Mrs. Barcinas. Gizo mahando admin gisanalo. Any paperwork to be run. Pago na ilahi si Mr. Cruz. Gizo mahando isanizo. Todo yung outside project. That's including Little Lake, Basta, bush cutting, mowing. Todo I hope that answers.
Yes, thank you. Are there any other drivers funded anywhere else besides the municipal council?
No,
You don't get any assistance from the mayor?
no.
And
Starbucks, I'm sorry,
That's
let me
okay.
rephrase that.
Mhm.
Starbucks will have my assigned guy to help us. Unfortunately, that person resigned, moved off island. But we have other employee, more alternate than si Mrs. Chad.
Okay. So when you're looking at this, right, I mean, you don't have an MVA. I mean, you share MVA funds with you guys, and they help promote the island of Tinian. But I'm looking through your mission, and in a sense, you're almost like MVA. Maybe with not the promoting marketing power function, right? But in terms of your local function, it really is promoting a lot of youth activities, promoting the people and Tinian for that sense. Okay. And I'm assuming the fuel and lubrication of $10,000 is to fuel the bus, the transit, including that. And then your rental and then professional services is 5,000. What is that for exactly?
Thank you, Congresswoman. So that's for whenever we have our legislative sessions for legal services, basically what those professional service will be for.
Okay. And then your official representation is 5,000. What is that?
That's 5,000. That's for other representation when the council members are going to be meeting with the different department heads or officials coming into the island.
Okay. And that you can purchase whatever with that? Is that an open
Pretty
account?
much, yeah.
Yeah. You purchase alcohol with that?
No,
I just had to ask.
no problem.
No.
Because, the mayor was so nice saying, these political positions, and we're like, oh, there's political positions. Yeah, I'm just kidding, Mayor. Okay, I think for me, my biggest thing here is the Tinian Transit, and if it's the function of this council to continue with that service, I would advocate wholeheartedly for that, and especially the individuals who are being funded to provide or ensure and meet that function of this public transportation. Does this also include the Manomco?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. I yield my time for now.
Thank you. So just a follow-up with the picking up of the Manomcos, does DCCA Saipan with the aging, I guess, helps out with the fuel costs and all that?
Yes, I can answer that. I work.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yes, they do provide fuel too.
Okay.
No, it's separate
From the
council.
Oh, okay. No, I'm saying that does the DCCA or aging help out the council here, because you guys are the ones that are driving the buses around?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm one of the driver. So yes,
Okay. Okay. And how many, I guess how many Manomcos does the council deliver, either delivers food to or picks up, to go groceries or whatever that's needed? No, I'm not sure if you actually do the shopping for the Manomcos. That's something that,
Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 4:30. Aging centers responsible for Manamco, even to go shopping. Not the municipal council, not the transit. We provide that service. E-transit, only on weekends pa Manamco if they need it. Majority is actually, is a mommy client ni disability. And some, dahil sinya na kami kay Manamco, council comes in. But majority of the time, we accommodate between Monday to Friday,
Okay.
7:30 to 4:30.
okay, okay.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Yes. What's your,
We are hearing the municipal council, not the DNR. I mean the DCCA. Yeah.
No, I'm just, what I was trying to tie it to is, does DCCA help out with the, I guess, some of the duties that you're going out of your way to? That's what I was getting at.
Okay.
Rep. Flores?
Thank you. I just have a follow-up question. So you mentioned that on the weekends, you also this transit provides services for the special needs. Does the municipal council have any MOUs with the Department of Developmental Disabilities, which also provides the vouchers for individuals who get public transportation, who are afforded? Do you guys get any supports from those?
Thank you, Congresswoman. So that was a topic that was brought up with these different organizations that come here. It has not been implemented regarding our transit, as we don't charge. So currently, we're not receiving any vouchers whatsoever regarding the transit program.
Okay, because you have, I know that there is a population of individuals with disabilities, and that also includes the aging populace.
Yes.
Right? And I think in terms of leveraging, because we don't charge, there's federal funds that can actually assist in this service that you're doing, whether it be coupons, right? And you turn that over for money to help sustain
Yes.
this program, and at least this function of the program. Maybe you can reach out to DD Council and figure out how you can leverage some of those funds, because it's available. And I know CODA in Saipan, they provide funding for that, especially to work. Do any of your clients take this transit to work?
Yes.
Then please reach out to vocational rehabilitation. They also provide funding for these types of vouchers to go to and from for these individuals, right? You want to be able to be sustainable, and we're just trying to figure out a way where we can utilize the programs and the agencies we have to help augment where we're short in fiscal funds, right? The liquid cash, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Yes.
So reach out to them and see how you guys can maybe start an MOU or design this payment plan, because if you're going to provide that service, it can also help you pay for gas. and it can also help pay for this transit. I'm more focused on the Tinian transit than I am with, you know, you guys meeting your mission, and it's very broad. You can basically do anything, this council, but I'm more focused on the Tinian transit, because if you can leverage funds anywhere to help sustain this program, then please reach out to them, because I think they could help you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield.
Thank you, Rep. Flores. Any further, the members? Rep. San Nicolas? Because you, point of order, everybody? What's your? Dispensa. Well, we're just trying to get some clarification and trying to help out how we can, fund, because the municipal council is doing work outside of its scope. So, we're just trying to, I guess, try to get some funds to help with the fuel and other stuff. I mean, you guys have nothing further aside from we'll look into the other agencies and to get assurance that they can help out with the municipal council here. So I'll leave the last question to Rep. Castro. Thank you.
This not necessarily a question, but just more of a statement in line with what Rep. Marissa brought up. I know that the municipality can do this successfully, but as a way to generate more revenue for your program, if there was enabling legislation that allowed you to charge fees, then you can then charge the federal government and then use that as like a revolving account for your program. And thank you, first of all, for the work that you do in assisting our Manamco and disabled individuals.
Thank you, Rep. Castro. Any further? With that, Director, I'll give you or Ms. San Nicolas the last closing remark on your budget request.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pwede mohon on Naomi Johnson is the mommy budget request. Zangin sinya. No. Zangin mati ora. Can deliberate. I hope na in considera ha ministry. The pwede mohon no. In analisa ia pen nayam tu ni sinya ben set pe masih tahu mami Tinian. Esja situ usma asik.
Thank you, Chairwoman San Nicolas. Any further members? With that, thank you, everyone. We'll have the Department of Finance, Department of Commerce, and Labor, and possibly Department of Lands and Natural Resources to finish out the day. So we'll start at promptly 1 p.m. Thank you, members.